Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk with Saieed Ali, your host for tonight and onwards, Trinidad and Tobago. So we're going straight to the news tonight, viewers. The Tobago House of Assembly will have its first ordinary meeting on Thursday, 22nd of January 2026, where they will amend the rules of the House to create more transparency and direct democracy. This was announced by Chief Secretary Fali Augustine on Friday during his first press briefing in the new term of his administration. Fali.
The law says that we must have our first ordinary meeting within 15 days post the swearing in of members. And so we're going to have that first ordinary meeting next week, Thursday at 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon.
So, Trinidad and Tobago, during next week's sitting, the THA will aim to amend the rules of the House. Previously, Public Accounts Committee meetings were only chaired by a minority leader or any appointee by minority leaders.
We are going to amend the rules of the House, meaning the standing orders, to now allow for an assistant secretary or someone who is not a member of the executive to chair the Public Accounts Committee.
On shifting policies in the House, the THA aims to allow some of the House committees to be broadcast.
Currently, none of the committee meetings of the Tobago House of Assembly are done in camera. And that's how it has been in the standing orders of the THA for as long as we have had these committees. So we are going to shift the policy dramatically to allow live broadcasts of some of these committee meetings, save and except in instances where the matter might be relative to issues like security that requires a certain level of confidentiality.
You know, Trinidad and Tobago, that is a very good idea. You know, at least the Tobago population could be able to log on to whatever Facebook page or whatever channel, and they can see a broadcast going live, which means they will be planning for Tobago, and the citizens have a right to know what is taking place. You see how we stream Parliament down here in Trinidad? I believe Tobago has or have the same rights as Trinidadians to see what is taking place during their committee meeting and standing finance meeting and thing. I believe this is a great move by Fali, so I want to congratulations going out to him for that marvelous move. And I know the citizens of Tobago will also support him in that. So furthermore, Chief Secretary Augustine said the public should be allowed to ask questions in relation to the House sitting during these broadcasts.
The presiding officer, as is now the case, will have the ability in law to actually review the questions, ensure that they meet the requirement for the House. Of course, we will use a petition-based system, so you're not just asking the question, but we will want to have it on the website, see how many Tobagonians actually want that question answered, and we will set some limits so that there is a bar to be crossed.
Like I said, Trinidad and Tobago, great move, great move, great move, great move. Now, a civil society co-optation system will be created to allow recognized civil society members to sit on committees of the Tobago House of Assembly. This is part of the direct democracy plans laid out by Chief Secretary Fali Augustine at a press conference on Friday. He said there will be non-voting members of the committees and must be from legitimate civil society organization.
we're not looking for those that just trying to form now that has no history and experience and credibility behind them. So recognized civil society groups, these oversight committees too will do some of their work in the public space. That will allow you, the public, to also contribute, because we will want these oversight committees to bring into our parliament experts to sit and discuss some of the grand ideas we have.
So Trinidad and Tobago, what do you think about that? Do you think Tobago is headed in the right direction? Let me hear what you think concerning this move by the TPP party. Now, the frequencies for sitting will also be increased. Currently, the 1996 Act requires that there must be at least one sitting on the fourth Thursday of every month. However, the THA is aiming to make this change.
So we will remove that part of the standing order, and we will amend it to the extent that we will have more than one ordinary meeting per month. Of course, some months it might be one, some months it might be five, some months it might be three. So it's a fluid thing.
Changes. When I tell about changes, that's what we're talking about. Changes. Meanwhile, the THA is seeking to institutionalize referendums in the legislative agenda. In particular, the questions of autonomy and other major island-wide issues will be put to the people as non-binding ways to get the public opinion.
The law does not recognize referenda as a legitimate way of treating with these issues. We are going to have these non-binding referenda to gauge public opinion. And we will use online platforms to do it, which is the cheapest way, the cheapest method. Online voting platforms in the interim, which is much cheaper than a paper-based system as we used on Monday for voting.
So, Trinidad and Tobago, what is your take? I want to hear from you, the citizen. Do you think Farley is heading down the correct way by making all these changes just to benefit the citizens of Tobago? That they will have a voice, they will have a say, they will be able to ask questions, they will be able to sit in committee meetings. I love this, I love this, I love this. To be honest with you, I love it. Transparency is the key to success. Always remember that, viewers. Always remember that. So switching gears from that now, Trinidad and Tobago, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar have stated that while the government does not intend to extend the state of emergency beyond January 31st, 2026, the safety and security of citizens are important. She said the government is turning its attention to targeting crime-fighting measures in hotspots.
The safety and security of our citizens has been and continues to be of paramount importance to my government. From day one, we have acted forcefully and decisively to frontally attack criminal organizations and entities in our country that have brought bloodshed, death, terror, and loss to our citizens' doorsteps. Yes, we declared a state of emergency in July to deal with threats to the state and state actors coming from gang leaders within the prison system. The SOE, as we know, was extended twice by this House, and as it comes to an end on January 31, we have brought to this House today, as part of our legislative agenda, a piece of legislation that will help us to pick up where the SOE ends. So we do not intend to extend that SOE beyond January 31. Instead, we will come, as we are doing later today, with the Special Zones Act.
So now, viewers, didn't. The PNM administration had plans to see about the hot spots in Trinidad and Tobago. What became of that plan? What became of that plan according to ERLA? All the TGPS plans failed. It failed. Now the UNC now, after the SOE ends on January 31st, 2026, they plan not to extend it, but to focus on crime fighting measures in hotspots. The PNM tried it for 9 years, 9.5 years, and they couldn't fix it. So now the UNC administration is going to try this now. Zone of special operation will be introduced, providing law enforcement with expanded legal authority to address criminal activities in hotspot communities. She said that the SOE has yielded significant result and should not be discontinued. The PM noted that TNT record its latest decline at 42%.
Well, let us not diss the SOE. By midnight, December last year, our national murder rate was brought down by 42%. That is the largest decline in our nation's history and one of the most significant drops globally in 2025. Through the relentless work of the Commissioner of Police, the TTPS, the CDS, and the Defence Force, and of course our ministers and MPs, our nation has seen a drastic decline in serious crime across the board.
So now viewers, the PM also stated that the government will seek to amend the age limit from 18 to 21 for young people who engage in a certain activities including consumption of alcohol and tobacco. Also for gambling, the age will be amended from 21 to 25. Try and Tobago, listen to this.
Age limits for the sale, purchase, possession, or consumption of intoxicating liquor or tobacco to change that age from 18 to 21. For the sale, purchase, possession, or consumption of cannabis from 18 to 21. And in respect of gambling, from 21 to 25. I think the Honourable Member for San Fernando East will recall that the former Prime Minister, Mr. Manning, was very much against, the late former Prime Minister was very much against gambling. And the research is showing that age is very important at which children, young people get caught up into the gambling and so on. So we've looked at the research, and as I say, we want to change that age.
So viewers, this is what you call responsibility. It is harsh. There are people who would find that this move would be very harsh. But look at last year. Look at last year. Young children, linemen drinking, smoking, getting a problem with the laws. So as I say, some may find this move very harsh. Very, very harsh. But this is putting the youngsters from 18 to 25 in a perfect gear. You want a drink? Drink with your family. You want to gamble? Gamble with your family. This is what it is doing. So you're 18 to 21. You have to be careful now when you're in a party, when you're going out, when you're going in the club after school on a Friday. You have to be careful. The youngsters from 18 to 21, you have to be real careful now how you're linemen. Bars now is going to get a restriction very soon. In bars, there's a sign, or even in groceries, you can't sell alcohol for anyone under the age of 18. Now, those signs are going to be removed. And you're going to see signs saying, do not sell alcohol for anyone under 21. Under 21. And you're going to also see now, in gambling places, you have to be 25 and over to gamble. Now, we in Trinidad will find it very hard. But I will tell you something, in the US it's different, you know. It's different. Why am I saying this? The US more strict than Trinidad. They're more strict. Casinos, no more 18 to 21 again. No. 25 and over in the casino. Responsible people. Call a good night.
Pleasant good night, my lord. Happy New Year to you, my lord.
Prim, how are you, my friend?
Everything all right, man. I get through, man. Everything cool with me, man. And God bless everybody. Bless the nurse, the doctors, the police, and the government. We have a new brother and all the rest of the show.
Thank you, my friend.
Take care, yeah, man.
So, viewers, the government will also seek to reform certain sections of the Dangerous Drug Act, focusing specifically on cannabis and the use for medical purpose. Listen to this.
Since the former government decriminalized cannabis in 2019, the T&T Police Service raised enforcement and regulatory challenges that have hindered effective policing of the new laws. Lack of clarity regarding 4 plants per person, lack of guidelines to ensure cultivation only happens in secure private spaces, the need to prohibit cannabis use in public places, and several other key issues have been raised. We are looking again, as I say, for reform with respect to that law. So, cannabis for medicinal purposes, that is something we are actively exploring. And that act will seek to provide control of the handling of cannabis for specific purposes, for the establishment of cannabis for specific purposes, establishing an authority, a licensing association for cannabis.
We'll be right back.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the blaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Welcome to Real Talk Financing and Investment, a place where your loans are guaranteed and you're rewarded with up to 5% upfront interest on your deposit. Why wait when you can invest with us today and reap the benefits? Speak with a representative at our central branch at 238-6716, 231-6219, or 339-1670, or our south branch at 242-9944, 241-0543, or 339-1670. Real Talk Financing and Investment. Investment company just for you. To be you. To be you. To be you.
Welcome back.
So viewers, I know we will have a lot of debate coming up very soon in the parliament. But I want to know, what is your take? What is your take on removing the age from 18 to 21 for engaging in alcohol and tobacco, and moving it from 21 to 25 for the age of gambling? What do you have to say concerning that? Do you like the move? Do you think it should be amended? Do you think they should have public consultation? What do you think, Trinidad and Tobago? Remember, at the end of the day, this is your kids we're talking about. This is your kids. That's when they finish teen and start young adulthood. So our Prime Minister is trying to enforce responsibility. What is your take on it? Switching gears. As Parliament debate the law reform bills, which is meant to designate high crime areas for security and social intervention, regional security experts Dr. Gavin Hira have stated that this is an appropriate follow-on to the state of emergency. The bill will focus on special security zones. If passed, it will prove and provide the government with another instrument in the fight against crime. Dr. Hira emphasized that the legislation is designed to ensure communities remain safe. Listen to this.
The key thing is legislation is related to those who are enforcing the law, and they have to understand the muscle that they have to work with. And it is also a key aspect here to not be too forceful, to understand, use your discretion, and at times work with the public. But the flip side of that, the public needs to work with law enforcement.
So Trinidad and Tobago, I have been saying, in order for the community to be safe, the police need to be active in the community. So now, I have been saying this, umpteen years I have been saying this. You didn't have to bring out a legislation, you didn't have to bring out an amendment, you didn't have to go to parliament to debate nothing. It's just a lack of communication between the Minister of National Security and the Commissioner of Police. And from the Commissioner of Police to her monthly meeting with her staff. And that is it. You didn't need to bring out a zone legislation for this. It's madness. I have been saying this for umpteen years now. Umpteen years. You want to give them special powers. Let me tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago. If the police is active in the community, that is all you need. That is all you need. You're giving them special powers to do what? Huh? They are police. They already have the power. Let me tell you something. You see common sense? Common sense and lack of communication is a serious thing, you know, Trinidad and Tobago citizen. It's a serious thing, you know. Caller, good night.
Good night, Mr. Saeed. Caller from Shagonas.
Welcome, Shagonas.
Wonderful program as usual. I think this legislation that the Prime Minister would like to put into place is a bit too late. We already have the horses out of the stable.
Correct.
When this country we have children making children. Mm-hmm. Who leads who? Is the blind leading the blind. You understand? Children as young as 14, 15 already acquire the use of marijuana. They're drinking, punching. Mm-hmm. They may be a little more developed. They're going into bars without being detected. Mm-hmm. You know, the police have so much work to do and having to look after people's children. You understand?
Correct.
This is a bit too late. And just to add to the conversation, you have a regular caller that keeps calling and bashing the Commissioner of Police. Mm-hmm. I think this person needs to have a little more respect for persons in office, more so the Commissioner. It's quite okay for him to say that, you know.
I understand.
The Commissioner is not doing what he, but there are ways to say things. You understand? He needs to have a little more respect. But all in all, a great show, Mr. Said. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, my friend. So Trinidad and Tobago, the police have the power to control the community. I've been saying this. I have been saying this in earlier days in the last 9 years. If earlier, listen to me carefully at Trinidad and Tobago, if earlier used to visit stations throughout Trinidad and Tobago, if earlier being the head of TTPS used to come down to the community and communicate with the community, you would find out what is needed in the community to keep it straight. But when you put somebody who knows nothing about policing and behind a desk 40-something years, what do you expect? Failure. Failure right through. The district police station, I've always said this, is responsible for the community. Monthly meetings in the community. Once a week visit, go down to the community members, find out what is taking place, what is needed. But nevertheless, let's see how it goes. Dr. Hira pointed to the success of Zone of Special Operation in Jamaica and Latin America, stressing that criminal network often overlaps across the region. Here it is.
Once tweaked to the applicability of our cultural relevance, it will be a successful implementation, but it must be measured, it must be managed, and it must be monitored.
So now viewers, here is it. Dr. Hira added that implementing this legislation offers Trinidad and Tobago a chance to raise its security standard to international best practice. Let me tell you something. All well and good, all well and good. But you didn't need a legislation to be passed in the House for the police in Trinidad and Tobago to raise their standard. What they need is the commissioner visiting the station, going down to the community, get the superintendent out on the field, get the inspectors out in the field. That is what you need. You don't need a legislation to give them. Let me tell you something. They go have the legislation, they go have the power, and they're still sitting on the station. They're still sitting on the station. Call a good night.
Good night, Mr. Said. Great program as usual. And reference the owner of the jewel shop. Showers of praises to you and thanks for highlighting the issue in such an effective way last night on your program.
Mm-hmm.
He only opened back this week, Monday, because, he was traumatized so much, and even the girl is still traumatized, and she had to seek counseling and so on, but I hope it helped her and so on.
Yes.
So I asked him if he reported it to Police Complaints Authority.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no, he is not going. So I said, you should. He said, from the information he have and the evidence, there was a police ingredients into it. Police had a hand into it.
Oh.
And when you look at it and analyze it, it might as well be so. I mean, I have no evidence. But when you look and see, you analyze it and see how it unfolded, you could say, boy,
they got one side involved.
And when you look and see how the police service operates in this country, to date, the head of the National Security Council mandate the minister and the commissioner to clean up the police service, to date. So, the over 60% criminals and crooks still in the police service, and they're talking about zoning and crime and so on. Nothing is going to work until you mandate these people who are responsible to clean up the police service, then we might see something happen. And you have over 500 police officers on suspension. You could save money there.
Correct.
Set up a tribunal that deal with these issues very quickly, because some of them ride it out into retirement and they get in full pay and ride it out into retirement.
Yes.
So people who are calling know what you are talking about. If you read the New York Times, you will get some information about the commissioner of police of this country, the prime minister and his boss, right? The New York Times have an article. I think you see it, you're right, you all see it. So I hope the last caller go and read it, that they call him the Lion Commissioner of Police in Trinidad and Tobago, and supported by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago and the Minister of National and Security of Trinidad and Tobago, where he said a raider from Tobago, this is how they explain, a raider from Tobago surrounded by hills saw marijuana in a protected area bird sanctuary called the Caroni Swamp and Point 14. This is a lie, it never happened. But to justify their lies and so on, that is the man was in the front line. So how anybody could say this commissioner of police is doing a good job, and he is a con man. Thank you, Mr. Sai. Keep up the great work you're doing. God bless you and your staff.
Thank you, my friend. So switching viewers. Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bisesa have stated that she makes no apologies for siding with the United States as she defended her government position on joint action against transnational organized crime. The PM said her administration remains focused on combating trafficking and other cross-border criminal activities and defended close cooperation with the U.S., which she described as Trinidad and Tobago's oldest trading partner.
So we remain focused as a priority on safety and security. We remain focused against trafficking, against transnational organized crime. And today I make no apology for standing side by side with our oldest trading partner, the leader of the free world. In this hemisphere, I make no apology today. I'm happy, and I'm happy that we did that. I'm happy.
During her address in Parliament today, she insisted no international laws was breached during Operation Strike in Caribbean seas. Listen to this.
And if you had some good lawyers on your side, we have some very good ones here, including the Honorable Attorney General. They will tell you there was no international law that was breached when we were taking out, people were being taken out in their boats, trafficking, human trafficking, drugs, children. That is what we were doing, transnational crime. That is what we were fighting, and we make no apology today. So, find a good lawyer, because we have the legal opinions on this matter. And again, we make no apology for it. In any event, I remember right here in this Parliament, I was sitting across there, and a member on this side said, what Trump go do we? What Trump go do we? Well, we now finding out what Trump did us. And what they could do, they're finding out. Very disrespectful. The leader then...
That member should look out for Trump.
We'll be right back.
When life throws you a curveball and you need a clear path forward, trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on a roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the blaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Welcome to Real Talk Financing and Investment, a place where your loans are guaranteed and you're rewarded with up to 5% upfront interest on your deposit. Why wait when you can invest with us today and reap the benefits? Speak with a representative at our central branch at 238-6716, 231-6219, or 339-1670, or our south branch at 242-9944, 241-0543, or 339-1670. Real Talk Financing and Investment. Investment company just for you. For you. For you. For you.
Welcome back.
So trying to make a welcome back to Real Talk. Minister of Transport, Eli Zukur, have stated that the Public Transport Service Corporation, PTSC, is committed to passenger safety and accountability.
The Public Transport Service Corporation, PTSC, wishes to reaffirm its commitment to passenger safety and accountability following a recent incident involving a PTSC bus and a passenger. The corporation continues to implement its driver recertification program, which is designed to reinforce safe driving practices, operational standards, and adherence to established protocols.
Now, viewers, this after a 60-year-old one fell while exiting a PTSC bus and suffered severe injuries to her left arm yesterday. The 58-year-old driver told police Matura lost her balance while attempting to get off the vehicle, causing her to fall. The driver said he tried to hold back the woman from falling but failed. MP Klongenberg questioned on what system have been put in place by PTSC to safeguard the traveling public. Trinidad and Tobago, listen to this, Listen to this. MP Klongenberg questioned on what systems have been put in place by PTSC to safeguard the traveling public. Imagine Klongenberg, who was in power for 9 years, asking this. Why Klongenberg didn't ask Rohan Sinanan what he put in place for traveling public safety? 9 years Klongenberg was sitting down there. 9 years Rohan Sinanan was there. Did Klongenberg ever ask Rohan Sinanan that question? If the PNM had something in place, Klongenberg would have never asked that question. Never. But nevertheless, in response, Zucker stated that PTSCs continue to implement safety driving practice and adherence to protocol. He also added that PTSC utilized internal investigation process to review all incidents. Listen to this.
In addition, the PTSC utilizes its internal investigation processes to thoroughly review incidents with findings used to inform future operational decisions and strengthen preventative measures. Where investigations identify breaches of policy or standards, appropriate action is taken to ensure drivers are held accountable. The corporation also maintains a strong focus on preventative measures, including continuous training, supervision, and monitoring.
So Trinidad and Tobago, last year, all over the country we saw buses shutting down. PTSC bus shutting down, and passengers had to wait for another bus to come and rescue them. So I want to ask a foolish question. Foolish. What did Rohan Sinanan put in place into the buses in case a bus shut down on the highway? That bandit don't stop and rob the traveling public. Can Clongenbird answer that? Eli, the Minister of Transportation, picked up from where the PNM left off. I want you to understand that. Works and Transport was Rohan Sinanan portfolio. Eli picked up from where Rohan left off. There's a saying I do so don't like so. But nevertheless, you know, it's a sad thing that the incident happened. And Clongenbird had to ask this foolish question. It's sad, it's sad. The incident is a tragedy. We wish that no one would have to go through this, but it happened, and PTSC has to deal with it in the best possible way. Best possible way. Imbert then asked, what is PTSC doing to assist the injured person? And in response, Zucchero said, the passenger remained hospitalized and the corporation is in contact with the relatives. Listen to this.
Madam Deputy Speaker, the corporation is in contact with the passenger's family. The passenger is currently receiving medical attention.
So now viewers, Imbert asked if the PTSC plans to compensate the victim, but the question did not qualify and was not allowed. So Trinidad and Tobago, I want to say this without an apology. If it comes to PTSC having to compensate the woman for injuries, I really hope after they do their internal investigations that something comes out of it. I really, really hope so. So Trinidad and Tobago, let me tell you something. Anything could happen. Incidents do happen. Incidents do happen. But let's just hope PTSC, the one that governs PTSC, could show a little kindness to the family. That is what I would love to see. Some kindness. Zucker is the Minister of Transportation. I just hope from my heart that he could visit the individual who the tragedy happened to. I'll tell you this, when an incident happened, and it happened in a government ministry, don't feel that the minister is too big to visit. Go visit them. Go visit them. Not because you are a minister, you cannot go and you're too big and you don't have time. No, make some time and go visit them. All I remember when Stuart Young and some other minister visit the home of one of the divers in the pipeline. Remember when they visited the lady's home and when a question was being asked, They were laughing and insult. I remember that Trinidad and Tobago. They went to the home of one of the divers that died. And when questions were being asked, these ministers were laughing. Instead of they go to help and to show appreciation, they laughing and question remain unanswered. Till today, nobody got nothing. Till today. It's sad, eh? It's stinking sad. How much millions spent? Lawyers make money. What about the family? Caller, good night.
Night, Mr. Saieed.
Go right ahead, you're live.
Kamala sit down in Parliament Day. And Kamala, I feel a little shame that the people, what she say, this government only tax, and she ain't gonna pay no tax. And you know that woman sit down there shamelessly bare face without nothing.
Thank you, my dear. Now, I'll say this, there's a lot of things that the UNC did to progress citizens in Trinidad and Tobago thus far. There are a lot of things that they are doing presently. What I want you to understand, the viewing public, is that this party now come in power. 9 or 10 months now. 9 or 10 months now. And there are things that they are still investigating. There are audits that they are still doing. So while that is taking place, they are trying to fix what they could fix and try to start something new, what they could start new. But it takes time. Our country went down a rabbit hole for 9 years. For 9 years. Imagine Clogging Burt, who is the Minister of Finance, asking the UNC government where they're getting the money. Stuart Young, a former Prime Minister, or former Prime Minister, for 1 month, asking Kamala Persad-Bissessar and Dave Tanku where are they going to get the money. That alone, Trinidad and Tobago will tell you what they left in the treasury. Let me tell you something, you have to be smart, you know. You can't be foolish, you know. Listen to the questions that they are asking the present administration. Where are you going to get the money? When the PNM won in 2019, Dr. Rowley said we have $3 million, I believe. Oh, money, my mistake. We had money in the treasury to run Trinidad for 3 days. All remember that? Oh, did you all remember that? And out of that, a $3 million painting was bought. So when Clogging Burt and Stuart Young asking Kamala, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and Dave, the Minister of Finance for Trinidad and Tobago, when these two PNM ministers asking the UNC minister who governs Trinidad and Tobago presently where they're getting the money from, you all shall ask yourself, why is Stuart Young saying this? Why Clogging Burt saying that, Minister of Finance? That will tell you what they left in the treasury. That will tell you that. Now, they moved a motion, I believe, a legislation, to borrow $1 billion USD. Ask yourself, how much money Clogging Burt borrowed while he was the Minister of Finance for Trinidad and Tobago? Ask him. That is the same Clogging Burt who bullied the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to pay a residential property tax. Residential. We are making money from a residential home, you know. But Clung would bully you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. As I always say, you listen, you analyze with your brain, and then you open your mouth. Then you open your mouth. Like I always say, I know for no party now. But those that put themselves there to govern Trinidad and Tobago, trust me, I will hold you accountable. I ain't need nobody money to hold you accountable. I ain't paying $350 a month to the cell. What's the next provider again? Be Mobile or Flow. I ain't paying them no monthly rent to have internet, to go on our Facebook, to brag mouth. No, that little churn thing. That little churn thing. I spending my money on a program live on television, streaming right around the world, to let people know the reality that is taking place in our country. That is not one of them Facebook trolls. That is not me. We're doing it different and we're doing it real and we're getting results. That's what we're getting. So Trinidad and Tobago. Listen to this now. The Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Khatija Amin, has once again defended the government decision to wind up the Unemployment Relief Program, URP, as part of its border reconstruction effort. Khatija.
The URP is a program designed to provide temporary employment to unemployed persons while enhancing their skills and so on, and of course providing improvement within the community. When we assumed office, we recognized that, in fact, before we went into office, people were rampant with corruption under the last government. When we assumed office, we appointed a program manager, Mr. Firoz Khan, who has been doing a phenomenal job, I must say.
Saying that the URP is temporary employment, the government has stated that the shutdown is aimed to addressing issues such as corruption and the presence of ghost gangs within the program. Khatija.
When we went in, what we met was widespread absenteeism, workers turning up at the end of the month to sign a register to collect pay, workers that members on the other side selves are now advocating for, knowing that they were doing these wrong things. We found a lot of nepotism, cronyism, corruption, fraud, condoned by members on the other side. Madam Deputy Speaker, under the last government, the Unemployment Relief Program lost its moorings completely. This government has taken to save taxpayers' dollars, to provide real employment to real people, not ghosts.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, that URP program was 10 days on, 10 days off. Sometimes they get 5 days this month, you ain't sure for 5 days next month. Now, we understand how that went. Now, in response, questioned. She was questioned on what criteria is being used to terminate, hire, or rehire monthly paid workers in the URP. In response, she noted that staff that are not essentials are no longer required as highly qualified persons were hired. Listen to this.
As such, this government take the decision that staff that are not essential to the wrap-up of the URP are no longer required. We hired a team of 8 persons who have previous managerial experience within the program, who have background in law enforcement, matters being referred to the police from the URP. We have persons with expertise in business management and project management competencies who were engaged, 8 persons, to wind up the URP and to implement a new strategic direction. There has been no hiring of terminated monthly paid employees, and there will be no hiring or rehiring of the ghosts that were condoned under the former government. Thank you.
The ghost. We say here a lot about that here, the ghost gangs. Well, the ghost gone back to ghost country. But nevertheless, Public Utility Minister Barry Patherad have issued a warning that mismanagement and corruption in water trucking will no longer be tolerated as the government roll out 4 water trucking tanks farm across South Trinidad to bring relief to residents during the dry season. Listen to this.
What we have sought to do is to prioritize areas throughout the country. So this will not be unique to the constituency of Siparia, but we are starting off here this morning by launching 4 tank farms across this constituency that will bring relief to residents and constituents.
So viewers, the minister said the country depends on the 60-year-old infrastructure of WASA to deliver water across the country. He explained exactly how the tank system will work.
Each tank farm will have 20,000 gallons of water for deployment, and therefore we have worked with WASA to ensure that we have the resources available through the trucks, through the capacity to accept the information coming in terms of requests, but also ensuring that there's a check and balance in the system.
So Trinidad and Tobago, he also noted that for accountability reasons, the system will be digitalized. Listen to the viewers.
We will utilize a digitized system for the operationalizing of the valves here, but also we will have a second bite of the cherry in terms of looking at ensuring that we have proper accountability in that we will have the human resources and the personnel working with WASA to ensure that we are not just dependent on the technology, but we are also ensuring that we have the human capacity here so that there will be a check and balance on each other.
So Trinidad and Tobago, hopefully in the coming days next week, we're going to try to get on to Minister Patherad to get a little more insight on how this actually works and how long the system will be there to support the individuals in their community with water in the dry season. Viewers, we have come to the end of our program tonight, but nevertheless, be safe until we meet again.